Back in 2022, I was living in Fremont, California, staying as a paying guest with a Punjabi family. It was a small apartment, tight walls, loud kids, and constant tension between the couple. The wife, Rinku, was in a dark place. She'd cry quietly at night, said her life had been ruined by black magic. She believed her entire family was cursed. Her father had died young. She was taken from her mother as a child and never allowed to speak to her again. Her marriage was abusive. Her sisters too. All of them were miserable. Rinku insisted we see a well-known Indian astrologer in the city. I didn't really believe in that stuff, but I went with her. The astrologer lived in a cramped upstairs unit. His wife let us in. The moment we entered his room, something felt off. The walls were covered in pictures of deities. In the middle of the room, on the floor, was a small white cement figure, thin like a stick man, with a red painted tongue hanging out. It was unsettling. I didn't like looking at it. He wore a black kurta, looked like a mix between a priest and a mystic. He told Rinku that someone had cursed her family long ago, used hair, lemons, cloth, classic black magic signs. She nodded like she already knew. I could see she believed every word. He said the only way to remove it was through an extensive ritual. Multiple visits, special offerings, and a fee of $2,000. I thought it was a scam, but she paid it. We visited him several times. Each time, I noticed something strange. A heavy feeling, like the room didn't want us there. He never offered food or drink until the third visit. That time, his tone changed. He said something evil had surfaced in his prayers, that it was attached to Rinku. He gave her a small copper pot and instructed her to keep it in her room. He also handed her a packet of items and told her she had to visit the graveyard that same night and leave them there. She cried when he said this. I asked her if she really wanted to do it. She nodded. I went with her. We left the packet there, exactly how he said. Came home. Didn't say much. That night, we both showered and had dinner. We were sitting on the couch around 11:30 when Rinku video called a friend and mentioned the graveyard. The friend paused and said, "You look weird today. Your eyes, they look scary." Rinku laughed it off, but then she asked me, "Do I really look weird?" When I looked into her eyes, something inside me dropped. Her eyes weren't normal. They looked blank, but hungry. Her gaze wasn't focused on me. It felt like it was looking through me. I said nothing, just nodded and told her she looked tired. She went to bed a little after midnight. I stayed up. I'm a night owl. Around 1:30 a.m., I was cooking something in the kitchen downstairs. The house had 2 bedrooms upstairs, and the kitchen and living area were on the ground floor. The stairs were right next to the kitchen. I was facing the counter, cutting something, when I felt it. It was small at first, like someone had walked down the stairs quietly. The hairs on my arms stood up. I looked to my side. I didn't see anyone, but I felt it, like something was staring at me, right beside me. I turned my head fully, and I saw a black shape, almost like smoke, standing still before vanishing into the air. I froze. It didn't feel like a shadow or a trick of light. It felt like it was something aware of me. I didn't run. I don't know why. I acted like nothing happened. Something told me not to react, like reacting would feed it. So I stood there, finished cooking, breathing like normal, even though I was cold with fear. Then I bent down to grab something from the lower cabinet. That's when both knees of my pajama pants ripped. Not one, both, at the same time. The cloth was thick and fitted, not old. I didn't know what to make of it. I sat on the couch after that, trying to distract myself. Played a video on my phone. It paused. I hit play. It paused again, over and over. It kept freezing no matter how many times I tried. The Wi-Fi was fine. I was shaking. I called a friend in India just to keep myself from spiraling. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I woke up feeling drained and heavy. A cloud was on me. I felt unsafe. I didn't even think. I just called my husband and moved out that same day. 2 days later, Rinku called. Said her son had seen something. Her 7-year-old was brushing his hair in the mirror that morning. He saw something standing behind him in the reflection. He turned around and saw it run into the bathroom. He said it was tall and black. Rinku didn't know about what I saw that night. Her younger twin daughter also started refusing to play in the living room. She told her mum, "There's something in the room." Rinku begged me to come back with her for the final ritual. I said no. She pleaded again. My husband said I should go one last time to finish it. I reluctantly agreed. That morning, her son slipped in the bathtub and cried non-stop. Wouldn't go to school. She forced him. I met her at the astrologer's at 2 p.m. for the final ritual. He listened to all the new things happening and just nodded. Said it was expected. That the spirit knew we were trying to remove it and it was fighting back. I finally told him what I'd seen. He wasn't surprised. He told Rinku to bring water from her home, neem leaves, and something else I don't remember. I was told to sit with her for the ritual. At the end, Rinku had to chew the neem, hold the water in her mouth, and pray to Kaylee 9 times. After that, she had to spit the water into a glass jar. When she did, it didn't come out as water. It was fire. It hissed and sparked. A black, smoky figure burst out of her mouth and slammed into the jar. The astrologer chanted loudly, trying to trap it. The thing pushed back. The jar shook on the table. I wanted to run, but he managed to seal it. He screamed at us to leave immediately. I'd left my jacket in the room. I went back. He was holding the jar, sealing it with thread and wax. Inside, through the glass, I saw something. Floating in the grey smoke was a small black human figure, thin, eyeless, mouth open. He saw me looking and screamed, "Get out!" I haven't seen Rinku since. I still don't know what that thing was, or why it stared at me first. I just know it wasn't finished with her. The house looked old, maybe Victorian, I'm not sure. It had a strange corner window and a small cellar room. Those 2 spots always felt wrong. The rest of the house was fine, but something about that corner made everyone uneasy. We had a bunch of pets, my dog Beggar, a cat named Cleopatra, and 2 new dogs, Nana and Zipper. Shortly after moving in, Cleo had kittens, vanished for 3 days, then came back acting different. At first, Cleo was fine. She slept next to Beggar in his pen, calm and affectionate. But after a few months, she got another litter. We only kept 1 kitten from that batch. That's when Cleo started acting strange. She'd race up the stairs, stop near the corner window, stare at it for a minute like she was watching something, then run back up again, over and over, like she was chasing or running from something I couldn't see. She died not long after that, and somehow, her kitten started doing the same thing. Tigger. He'd run the stairs just like her, always stopping at that same window, hissing at the corner more times than I can count. Sometimes, he'd crouch low and growl like something was just out of sight. Our 6-foot iguana, Iggy, was even worse. She avoided that part of the room like it was poison. She loved basking in the sun through that very window, but only when the light hit the middle of the room. If it was even close to that corner, she wouldn't go near it. None of our dogs liked that part either. Beggar barked at it every time we passed it indoors. Nana and Zipper barked too, but mostly just avoided the corner and the cellar room completely. You could literally watch them change direction to walk around it. If they ever ended up near it, their ears went flat and their bodies stiffened like they were about to bolt. What got to me most was how consistent it was. We didn't tell the animals to be afraid. They just were. They sensed something. My mum never said anything about it, but she stopped putting anything near that corner. No decorations, no tree, no furniture. It just stayed empty. The cellar-type room wasn't much better. It was always cold, no matter the time of year. Nothing ever worked right in there. Light bulbs would flicker or burn out fast, even new ones. We'd store some boxes in there, but no one ever liked going in alone. It felt heavy, like walking into a room filled with stale breath. One time, I left the cellar door cracked open overnight. The next morning, Cleo's remaining kitten wouldn't stop staring at it. His back arched, his fur puffed up, tail stiff like a bottle brush. He wouldn't move until I shut the door, and no one ever saw anything. That's the part I keep thinking about. It wasn't about shadows or voices or cold spots. It was subtle, too subtle to explain. You just knew something was wrong. We lived there for 2 years. Eventually, we moved again. A different town, a newer house. No cellar, no strange windows. Our pets were fine again. Normal behavior, no random barking, no stairs sprints. That should have been the end of it. But sometimes, late at night, my new dog, the one we got after Beggar passed, will sit in the hallway and stare at the far corner of the living room. A spot where nothing is. No light, no sound, just stillness, and that same low growl. My sister just had her first baby, a boy named Eli. I stayed with them for a week to help out. They live in an old farmhouse outside town, the kind with creaky floors and paint that never quite hides the age of the place. Something about the house always felt off to me. The upstairs hallway was colder than the rest of the house, especially near the attic door. One night, around 2 a.m., I was downstairs watching TV with the baby monitor on the table beside me. Eli had been a little fussy earlier, but now he was asleep. Then I heard something strange through the monitor. A second voice. Not crying, not static. Someone whispering to him. It was soft and rhythmic, like a lullaby, but not in English. Just low syllables, repeating gently over and over. I muted the TV and leaned in. The whispering continued, like someone was right next to the crib. I ran upstairs. The room was cold, unnaturally cold, like walking into a walk-in freezer. Eli was sleeping peacefully, but the rocking chair beside his crib was moving. Slow, steady creaks. I checked the windows, shut tight. No fans, no drafts. I stood there frozen, watching it rock until it finally came to a stop. I picked Eli up and took him downstairs with me. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. I kept the monitor next to me, watching and listening. It stayed quiet, but I couldn't stop checking. The next morning, I told my sister what I saw. She looked at me and said, "We don't talk about that." When I pressed her, she finally explained. The last family who lived here had a baby who died in that same room. Sudden infant death, supposedly. After that, the parents reported strange things. Crying on the monitor that didn't match their baby's voice, giggling late at night, whispers that stopped when they entered the room. Her voice was flat when she said, "I thought it was just their trauma, but maybe not." They moved Eli into their room that night. Everything seemed fine for a few days. Then she called me crying. She'd found Eli awake in the early morning, sitting up in his crib, staring into the dark hallway and smiling. Just smiling, completely still. Then he said a word. His first, Lady. They don't know anyone named Lady. No books, no shows, no toys with that name. Later that night, my sister turned on the monitor. The room was empty, but the chair was moving again. This time, she said, it didn't stop. My mother-in-law had a tradition. She hand-embroidered a name panel for each of her 7 grandsons. When my youngest, Stevie, was born, she was thrilled. But 2 months later, she died suddenly. We never got a panel for him. I assumed she just hadn't finished it. The night after her funeral, I had a strange dream. She stood in total darkness, lit by some faint light I couldn't place. Her mouth was shut tightly, like she wasn't allowed to speak. She was holding something, gesturing to it with her free hand. It was a name panel, the same kind she always made, but the name on it looked distorted. like the thread had been yanked the wrong way. I asked her what she was trying to say, but she just kept pointing at it, silent. A few days later, I was at her house alone, packing her things. The place felt too still, like the air was waiting. I opened her closet and found a sealed plastic bag tucked into a corner behind some sweaters. Inside was a framed name panel. It had Stevie's name on it. Same style, same thread she always used. Finished and perfect. It was the exact panel from my dream. I took it home, but didn't hang it. Something about it unsettled me. I put it in a drawer under Stevie's crib and tried to forget about it. That night, he cried more than usual. He kept looking toward the same empty corner of his room. I turned on the light. Nothing was there. I checked the drawer, still shut. Around 3 a.m., I woke up to a soft, dragging sound. Carpet. Something light but steady. I checked the baby monitor. Stevie was asleep. When I opened the door to his room, the drawer was open. The panel lay on the floor, face down. The next morning, I put it back in the drawer and locked it. I told myself I was imagining things. Maybe I had left it open. Maybe I was tired. But the next night, it happened again. Same time. Same sound. When I opened the drawer in the morning, the panel was outside it again, and this time, it wasn't Stevie's name on it. It was mine. After class, I started walking with no plan. I passed the shops near Shintoshin Station. Then I remembered something. Someone once told me about a small shrine nearby. I had seen it before, behind an old apartment building, but I never went inside. Today, I decided to. The gate was open. I stepped through. Something about the air felt off, thick, like walking underwater. At the top of the steps, an old man was sweeping. He looked up and said, "It's been a long time." I told him he had the wrong person. I had never been there before. He didn't look confused. He just said, "She never left. But now, she's no longer bound." I felt cold, like something ran down my spine. I asked what he meant. He didn't answer. He turned and walked into the inner part of the shrine. I waited. 10 minutes, maybe more. He never came back. I called for him. Nothing. The whole place was silent. I finally left, but those words stayed in my head. She never left. But now she's no longer bound. I don't know what he meant. Was it a warning? A memory? Was he talking about her? The presence I've felt since I was a kid? The cold corners? The heavy air? That feeling that someone was always behind me? When I got home, everything felt different. The room felt heavy, like the air had weight. But I felt lighter, like something had let go of me a little, just enough to notice. That night, I heard scratching from my closet. Not loud, just soft and steady, like nails on wood. I opened it. Nothing. But the air inside was freezing, and it smelled wrong, burnt and wet at the same time. The next day, I avoided mirrors. My reflection didn't move right. Just for a second, like it was watching me instead of copying me. The words played over and over in my head. She never left, but now she's no longer bound. I went back to the shrine. The gate was closed. No footprints. The broom was still resting where he left it. I called out again. No one answered. That night, the scratching came back, but it wasn't the closet this time. It was from under my bed,